Hello everyone, we are here today with Margaret Coleman and Stephen Rozaki to discuss issues associated with stereotypes and stereotype threat in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, also called the STEM field. My name is Alexander Mango, and I'm going to start by asking you what stereotype threat is.
Stereotype threat refers to being at risk of conforming a negative stereotype about an individual's racial, ethnic, gender, or cultural group.
So when would you say someone is affected by stereotype threat?
It occurs when targets of stereotypes are reminded of the possibility of confirming these stereotypes, which can result in performance deficits.
Could you give us some example of stereotype threat?
Sure, a lot of studies prove that women taking exams in the STEM field are impacted by stereotype threat. Results showed that they are not doing as well as males are.
So these studies were performed with equal intellectual capabilities for both gender?
Yes, that is correct. It's been proven that women and men are equally capable of achieving high intelligence.
However, researchers found that women and men don't have equal emotional and spatial capabilities. Would you say this is a cause of stereotype threat and gender stereotypes in general?
I believe these phenomena are the result of gender stereotypes and gender norms. It has been found that men have better spatial capabilities. We also know that men play video games a lot, more than women. And video games are found to significantly increase spatial capabilities of players after only a few hours of gaming. There is a strong correlation between gender norms and gender cognitive skills. An experiment was performed on women playing video games. Researchers found a significant increase of spatial capabilities, thus proving that both gender are equally intelligent.
So if there aren't any gender differences, how and why do we have so many issues related to gender inequalities?
Well, unfortunately, these inequalities and stereotypes have been ingrained into our society over generations and generations. Many people want to maintain the status quo, and they continue to fuel and feed these stereotypes so that women as well as minorities will continue to feel inferior.
Could you give us some examples of the impact of stereotypes in the STEM field?
The number of women studying and working in the STEM field has been increasing. However, there's not an equal balance of gender yet. It is definitely better than it was 50 years ago, when it was expected that women should stay at home and clean the house and take care of the children.
Another good example is the objectification of women in general. Unfortunately, a lot of men view women as objects of male sexual desire without regard for their dignity, personality, or intelligence. This phenomenon is not only noticeable in the STEM field, but in many other fields.
What do you think reinforced these stereotypes?
I believe advertisements on television and magazines, on billboards and other types of ads have an enormous impact on how women are perceived. Advertising gives a wrong image of women. The image given is that they're supposed to be relatively tall, skinny, thin, with a perfectly shaped body. More importantly, women shown in ads are white, thus giving the idea that to be pretty is to be white, in addition to the other characteristics that I named before.
And to add to Margaret's point, in the video Killing Us Softly 4 by Dr. Jean Kilborn, she also claims that advertisers artificially enhance these models to make them look just absolutely perfect. So not only is the media producing an image of women that lowers their self-esteem, they're also presenting an image that is impossible to obtain.
What are the impacts of such issues?
There are many negative impacts that these problems pose. For example, women's self-esteem and self-worth is hurt by these presentations of women. These stereotypes don't just affect women, but anyone with an identity. For example, in the video we watched earlier this semester called Dark Girls, we are shown how society places negative stereotypes on girls with darker skin. These girls, along with anyone facing negative stereotypes, must deal with this every day, and this can lead to poor self-image, which brings on a host of other problems, including drug use, eating disorders, cutting, self-loathing, etc. So as we can see, the impacts of stereotyping are broad and very counterproductive.
So when you are talking about stereotype threat and the STEM field earlier, how does it play a role in science and technology?
Internalized oppression affects perceptions about what career fields and opportunities are chosen by persons impacting by stereotype threat. This is especially true in the STEM field, where many women and minorities feel they do not belong due to society's stereotypes about who should be in the science and technology field.
So are there any studies that shows the impact of stereotype threat on women in the STEM field?
Oh, there are plenty. As we saw in the video, women, math, and stereotype threat, there was an experiment done where they had two groups of girls taking a math test. All were capable, of course, of completing a test. One group was reminded of the stereotype stating that men perform better on these math tests than women. And it appears that after hearing this statement, the group of girls who were told about the stereotype performed significantly worse than those that were not made aware of it.
Could you give us some statistics?
According to the National Society of Professional Engineers, in 2004 in the U.S., there were around 1.7 million engineers, but only 11% of them were women. There have been only minimal increases in African American women in engineering in the last 3 decades. Black women in engineering represent less than 0.5% of all engineering PhDs. While the number of minority women receiving engineering doctorates is increasing, black women are still underrepresented. Black women receive only 7% of female engineering doctorates.
Well, now that we talked about the issues and impacts of stereotype threat and stereotypes in general, what are some solutions to remediate gender inequalities and gender norms?
I believe the most crucial point is to educate people from a young age and raise awareness about the current problems that these stereotypes pose. Doing this will help avoid exposing young children to the wrong image of women and minorities, and this will ensure that these stereotypes don't get spread to future generations, and therefore avoiding the spread of these wrong and incorrect beliefs.
Another solution to fight the wrong image of women given by advertisements could be diversifying models in magazines or billboards or television. This is shown to be working in some European countries who have outlawed overly thin models by requiring a minimum body weight. They found that the general self-esteem amongst women improved compared to other countries.
Well, you answered all my questions, and I hope this has been an eye-opening experience to all our viewers and listeners. Thank you for coming and talking with us today.
Thank you
for inviting us.